Okay, my friends, let's talk about reading food labels. So I have a couple of foods here that are pretty commonly found in pantries, and then one that's in the refrigerator that we use pretty regularly. I'm just going to talk to you about the basics, the basics of reading a food label, to where you're not getting like super overwhelmed with trying to understand every single thing with the food label. So the things that are going to be important for you to look at on a food label are going to be the macros, which is going to be your protein, your carbs, and your fat, and then also your sodium and sugar levels. So those are the main things that I look at when I'm looking here on the nutrition information on food. What it lists as the highest, unless it's like super duper close, what it lists as the highest macro is what you would count that food at. So for instance, I have garbanzo beans here, and I have total fat is going to be 1.5 grams. Total carbs is going to be 20 grams. Total protein is going to be 6 grams. So this would obviously be a carb, 20 grams of carbs to 6 grams of protein. And that's how I would count these garbanzo beans, because it's significantly more carbs than protein. And then, on something like garbanzo beans, you're not looking at too much as far as ingredients, because it shouldn't be too much. So I look at the ingredients, it's prepared garbanzo beans, water, and salt. So I know that with the ingredients here. Go ahead and look at something like quinoa. Okay, so again, flipping it over and looking at the back side is going to be important to see how we're going to count this, right? So I'm going to look at fat, 3 grams, carbs, 30 grams, protein, 7 grams, okay? So again, obviously a carb, 30 grams of carbs to 7 grams of protein. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get good protein out of these foods. They are really good. They do have really good protein in them. However, they should not be counted as a protein when you're adding your stuff up. They should be counted as a carb because there's significantly more carbs in it than protein. Then I'm just going to look at my ingredients. I've got organic white quinoa, organic red quinoa, organic black quinoa. Woohoo! Yay, another winner, right? Let's see. Let's look at my peanut butter. Peanut butter can be tricky. You see all these ones that are like natural this and natural that. Natural doesn't mean shit. Natural is a way for the food industry to falsely market to you that it's full of only things that are natural and good for you. You can say anything's natural. So make sure that you're looking and seeing what's in your peanut butter. So looking at the back of this, I've got fat, 16 grams. I've got carbs, 7 grams. I've got protein, 8 grams. So this is for sure going to be a fat, because you know that the amount of fat that we can eat on the daily is typically kind of low compared to everything else. So for sure going to be a fat with that 16 grams of fat. And then I'm gonna look at my ingredients. I've got peanuts and salt. Peanuts and salt, okay? That's all you wanna see on your peanut butter, peanuts and salt. All right, looking at something a little bit more, what could be considered a little bit more processed. I was actually super happy when I found this sucker because it is full of only good stuff. I've got curry here. It is, let's look at the back label, right? We're gonna have 1.5 grams of fat, 7 grams of carbs, less than 1 gram of protein, so a carb. It's a sauce, right? So we wanna look at sodiums too on all of these. Peanut butter, the sodium is 105 milligrams. On this, the sodium is 180 milligrams. So especially when you're getting into things that are a little bit more, can be a little bit more on the processed sides, make sure you're looking at sodium, because that's a sneaky one. Even like when you get those super healthy meals that are, you just put in the oven, if they've pre-made it, they have to keep it, shelf or whatever stable, refrigerator stable, for a longer period of time, which typically means that it's going to be higher in sodium. So just be aware of that. Sodium, can cause inflammation, can cause bloat. So we want to keep sodium levels where they should be. We don't want to keep sodium levels as low as possible. Our body needs sodium. We want to keep our sodium levels in that healthy area where your MyFitnessPal tells you that they should be. Okay, so I'm gonna look at ingredients here. I've got water, red bell peppers, raisins, onion. I've got tomato paste, coconut paste. Contains 2% or less of spices, and it lists out all the spices. Contains coconut. Surprise. So that's good, right? So I found myself a nice good curry. All right, let's see here. We're gonna talk about Greek yogurts. I've got two of them here. Greek yogurts are a really good source of protein. Let's start with the plain Greek yogurt. So in comparing plain with vanilla, we typically use plain. I typically do not have vanilla in my fridge. I just so happen to have it this week. When we use vanilla yogurt, Greek yogurt, to make it taste yummy, we'll use frozen blueberries, like a 1/4 cup of frozen blueberries, microwave them for like 20 seconds so they get a little bit soft. Put this on top of it after it's done microwaving, and drizzle with like a teaspoon of honey and add walnuts on top. And that takes the like gross plain Greek yogurt taste out of it and makes it taste good without adding the sugar that you're gonna see is added to this guy. Okay, so looking at the label, we've got 0 fat, we've got 8 grams of carbs, and we've got 17 grams of protein. So this is a really good source of protein here. And let's see, our ingredients are strained yogurt, and that's it. Contains milk. So this here, super good source of protein, as long as you're not lactose intolerant, like me. But if we get into the vanilla, which is the calmest of all of the flavored yogurts, we're gonna see very similar here, 0 fat, 21 grams of carbs, less protein. It's only got 14 grams of protein, but we also see that it contains 18 grams of sugar, no fiber, and 13 of those grams of sugar are added sugar. So that's a lot of added sugar to be adding into your day, especially with no fiber attached to it. Ingredients are gonna be strained yogurt. Okay, fine, that's great. And vanilla preparation, which contains water, fructose, sugar, cornstarch, pectin, natural flavor, carabine gum, lemon juice, concentrate. All right, so not as good of a choice at all, especially when you could just make this taste good with blueberries and a little bit of honey, right? So you can see the difference there that you would get if you chose this with all of its sugar and its extra added crap versus this without all of its extra added sugar that you could just add some fruit and a little bit of honey to make yummy, okay? So differences between foods really matter. Last but not least, I'm gonna look at this pasta. So the vegetable pasta, and we're gonna look at the back of it. So this one is a 1 gram of fat, 42 grams of carbs, it's pasta, right? 7 grams of protein. Okay, so this is a carb, not so bad here. It's got 2 grams of fiber to the 3 grams of sugar that it has. 42 grams of carbs, so it's giving you a pretty significant source of carbs, but you are getting that 7 grams of protein added into it. Now, because it is a vegetable pasta, you're also getting some some vegetable vitamins in here. So when you look at the ingredients, oftentimes people say, don't eat anything that you can't read, but that's, a lot of like the names of vitamins, niacin, ferrous sulfate, thiamine monotrate, riboflavin. They sound like the heck. I had to look them up. But they're vitamins. It's infused. It's got the vitamins in it because it has the vegetables in it. So know these things. I know like if you're going through the grocery store, it's hard to be like, look up this, look up that, look up this. This is why I grocery shop online, so that I can take my time. If I'm going to I don't get pasta very often, but if I'm going to get something like pasta and I read the back of this and I'm like, what the hell is all this stuff, right? I can look it up and be like, oh, okay, so it's not like, whatever. So that is just a quick little breakdown on just a couple of foods. Flip the food over. Most important things to look for are going to be fat, protein, and carb breakdown, and then deciding which category it falls into based off of how much of each one is in the item. And then you want to make sure sodium levels aren't super high and sugar levels aren't super high. And if it does have some sugar in it, it should have some fiber in it too, to kind of balance out that sugar. The fiber kind of helps keep the sugar levels from spiking. in your body, so you don't get like that spike and then that crash. So you want to look at that, and then you also want to look at ingredients and make sure your ingredients are, you know, pretty clean and pretty minimal, right? Sometimes you're going to have foods that are going to have things in them that is questionable. You know, we don't always eat perfectly. The goal is to eat as well as we can, as often as we can, and really bringing awareness to what you're eating really helps you build into building healthier habits, right? So when I look at your guys' MyFitnessPal, I'm not just looking at your macro breakdown. I'm not just looking at how much fat, how much sugar, how much this, how much that you had throughout the day. I'm looking at the specific foods that you're putting into your day also, and making sure that they're good and well-rounded. And so, you know, starting to do that yourself and starting to really pay attention, it doesn't make you obsessive. It doesn't make you like a crazy person. It puts you in the power seat to where you kind of have an idea as to what is in your food and how to fuel your body to get to the goals that you want to get to the best way possible, right? Versus just throwing freaking spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks and wondering why nothing's sticking because you're throwing all the spaghetti at the wall and you don't know which noodle's which, right? So just take a little bit of time. Again, like I've told you a million times, I don't track all the time. I just track if I'm going to try something new like this pasta, or if I'm going to try something new like this curry. Like I pay attention to what's in it. And then I carry on with my life, right? Like once you get to that point, which it doesn't take a really long time to get to, once you get to that point, you can really start making educated decisions that fuel your body so that you're getting stronger, not weaker, right? We don't want to turn into skinny little girls. We want to turn into strong, confident women. So that you're getting stronger, you have energy, you feel good, and you're hitting those weight loss goals, all while getting all those other, you know, super important benefits as well. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.